Hey gals and guys, it's your host Phil Larson, and this is your Motivational High 5 on enemies. Let's do this. Welcome to episode 4 of your Motivational High 5. We're seeking to get a motivational high in around 5 minutes. It's a super simple podcast show. I hope you guys follow along. I hope you're enjoying it so far. If you'd like more information on this podcast, I would encourage you to listen to podcast episode number 1 or the intro into the podcast itself. The question I want to start out with today on enemies is, who have you given control over your life? And I'll explain what that means. But first, a story. On the elementary school bus on the way to school, my brother and I rode the bus together, and we had a friend at the end of our block that rode the bus with us. Well, he had a friend that got on at the next bus stop 1 street down. And this friend of his, for a long time, when he would get on the bus, he would poke fun at my brother and I. This guy's name, Tyler BB. Away from his face, we would call him Toilet instead of Tyler. And one time it went too far, and I called him Toilet to his face, and my brother, who was 3 years younger at the time, said, "Yeah, toilet with poop in it." And needless to say, that didn't solve anything. Well, I kid you not, just maybe 4 years ago, and I'm 30, I was flying back to my now home state, which is Indiana, but my former home state, Minnesota, was a stop along the way. And all along the way, I was hearing this guy behind me talking to maybe an elderly lady, I think. By the end, he talked about his hometown being my hometown, and he shared that his name was Tyler. As the plane stopped and people started to stand up, I kind of peered around, and guys, it was Tyler BB. Here I was, faced with a childhood enemy, and I stood up and I said, "Are you Tyler BB?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Oh, I don't know if you remember me, but I was a street down from you, Phil, and we rode the elementary school bus together. We had a mutual friend, Aaron." The guy didn't recall anything. I wasn't a memory in his brain. I don't even think our mutual friend was a memory in his brain, if I remember right. And for so many years, I dreaded this name, Tyler BB. And I made myself known to him on that plane in hopes that he would apologize to me, to come clean, like, "Dude, I treated you really poorly and I'm sorry." And then I could finally forgive him and move on. Do you find that you have some enemies in your life? And are these people having a say on your narrative? When someone comes to you and mentions a name and you go, "Well, let me tell you about them," or you get quiet and your insecurities start flooding back, or you get upset and your heartbeat starts speeding up and your palms start sweating, the room starts closing in, you're a ticking time bomb, and you're going to keep having this reaction until finally they come pleading to you for forgiveness on their knees. And that could happen, but the reality is, if someone has not put in the effort to stay a part of your life, the probability that they are going to come back and apologize is not very high. And this is kind of frustrating to hear because I've been there. You know, I've had mentors, people who have been fatherly type figures in my life, who've been a big part of my life, as well as some friends who were really close that are no longer in my life. And the truth is, they took themselves out of it. And it's sad. And maybe the word enemy isn't the best word for what these people are, because some of these people, I really am sad that they aren't in my life anymore. But if I allow the mere mention of their name to get in the way of my mental health, then I'm giving them too much power, and the situation has become an enemy to my moving forward. Check out this quote. "If you're waiting for someone to do something so you can forgive them, you are allowing them to control your joy." I'm here to tell you to not wait for someone to do something to forgive them. Besides, you don't forgive someone for them. You forgive someone for you, so you can move on. We're now at the end of this episode. We're going to tell us something positive. This is an exercise that I explained more in previous podcasts, but I want you to find a way that you can look at yourself, that you can see your reflection. For me, the best way to do this in my little studio here is to flip my phone to the front-facing camera. I like to call it selfie mode. And go ahead and give your reflection a little smile. Convince yourself that you mean it, even if it's hard to mean it. And as you look at your reflection, say this to yourself: I can forgive my enemies because I am worth moving forward. Friends, take back your narrative. If you want to move forward, then take the first step. Who's to tell you you can't? Those who have hammered in these negative narratives in your life, they don't have to have a say, but guess what? Whether or not they do have a say, that decision starts with you.